In 1964, young inventor Frank attends the New York World's Fair to present his prototype jetpack at the inventors competition. But Judge Nix loses interest when he learns it doesn't function properly. Heartbroken and discouraged by his father's words, Frank is approached by Nix's assistant, Athena, who gives him an orange lapel pin with a blue T and instructs him to follow them discreetly. When Frank sneaks onto a ride, the pin triggers a trapdoor that leads him to a hidden corridor, where he encounters a futuristic wagon that shakes violently before dropping him onto a fog-covered platform. After breaking his jetpack and receiving help from a friendly robot, Frank successfully repairs it and takes flight, discovering he is in Tomorrowland. He eagerly lands beside Athena to demonstrate his working jetpack. But while Nix remains indifferent, Athena takes Frank's hand, excited to show him the possibilities that await him in Tomorrowland. In 2015, teenage Casey sneaks into a NASA launch site in Florida to sabotage machinery set for demolition, aiming to save her father, a NASA engineer, from losing his job. But her efforts go unnoticed by him. Afterward, Athena secretly retrieves Casey's DNA from her bike helmet and codes it into her Tomorrowland pin. The next morning, Casey learns from her dad that replacement cranes will be brought in, despite her belief that she saved his job. That evening, she attempts another sabotage but gets arrested. Someone pays her bail, allowing her to return home. Among her belongings, she finds the mysterious pin and experiences visions of a different place, leading her to realize it only works for her. After her dad scolds her and tries the pin without success, Casey secretly retrieves it from his nightstand that night, re-entering the other world but stumbling as she attempts to approach the distant city. After waking her father, Eddie, Casey decides to test the pin in a large field, which transports her to Tomorrowland. On a train heading deeper into the city, she notices the pin has a countdown timer and that no one can see her. When she tries to follow important scientists boarding a special wagon, the timer runs out and she suddenly finds herself in a swamp. Back home, Casey enlists her brother Nate to help her search their dad's computer for information about the pin, leading them to a shop that buys similar pins. When Casey arrives at the shop, the eccentric clerks show great interest in her pin, confirming her experience in Tomorrowland was real. However, when she refuses to divulge information about the pin, the clerks lock the door and brandish futuristic plasma weapons. Just then, a grenade crashes through the window, trapping the clerks in a force field. Athena bursts into the shop, urgently warning Casey about a time bomb in the force field, and helps her escape just as it disables the bomb, freeing the clerks. A fierce battle ensues with Athena fighting the animatronic clerks, while Casey throws merchandise at them. After realizing they are robots, Casey is startled when Athena decapitates one and narrowly avoids an explosion caused by the animatronics. They escape in a car Athena hotwires, but during their escape, Athena malfunctions and reveals she is also an animatronic, prompting Casey to jump from the vehicle. Athena is struck by a truck while the driver checks on her, allowing Casey to steal the truck. However, Athena quickly recovers, jumps in, and locks the door, revealing that Casey is her last pin and they need to hurry to Tomorrowland due to a dangerous creation there. Meanwhile, police discover a charred robot head from the explosion, and a man named Dave, part of the Secret Service, arrives, eliminating the officers and announcing they have located Casey and need to inform Nix. The girls are en route to New York to find Frank, the only person who can help them return to Tomorrowland, but Athena malfunctions when Casey asks about others who received pins. The next morning, Athena takes over driving, and while Casey sleeps, she reminisces about their past. Hours later, Casey suddenly finds herself pushed out of the truck in front of a house and is chased by a holographic guard dog. Ignoring the fake creature, she knocks on the door and shows her pin to the camera, requesting access to Tomorrowland. An older Frank emerges, demanding to know Athena's whereabouts. After Frank angrily tells Casey to leave, claiming Tomorrowland is a manipulative illusion, he locks the door. Undeterred, Casey decides to stay in the pouring rain and begins to devise a plan. To draw Frank out, Casey sets a fire on the plow truck, prompting him to rush outside to extinguish the flames. Seizing the opportunity, she slips inside and locks the door behind her. When Frank tries to re-enter, she pushes him back with a burst of air. As she explores the house, Casey discovers an array of bizarre inventions, including a machine that plays a recording of young Frank trying to make Athena laugh. She also finds numerous screens displaying the news and a countdown timer. Just then, A secret door beneath the stairs opens, and Frank returns, prepared to throw Casey out. But she persuades him to share some answers. Frank was expelled from Tomorrowland for creating something he shouldn't have, the timer linked to the screens. He questions Casey if she would want to know her death date, and while she initially says yes, she realizes that accepting such a fate might lead to its fulfillment. She asserts that they must believe in their ability to shape their own destinies. This remark causes the percentage on the screen to decrease, which impresses Frank. Their discussion is abruptly interrupted by Dave and his agents, who are actually robots searching for Casey. Frank quickly activates all the metal blinds, but when one robot manages to break in, he uses a tool to electrocute it. He also sets off an electrical trap that destroys another robot and eliminates two more by sending them through a secret trapdoor. Frank and Casey then dash to the living room, where they encounter another robot. Frank engages it in a hand-to-hand fight, and Casey assists by using a portal machine to trap the robot. They head upstairs, where additional robots fall into various traps. Just as Dave catches up to them and points a gun at Frank, Casey grabs a bat and beats Dave senseless. Frank then pulls Casey into the bathroom, and they jump into the tub, which he activates to transform into a capsule. As one last robot tries to seize the tub, Frank launches it, sending the capsule flying and landing it in the lake. After swimming to safety, Frank and Casey make their way into the woods, where Frank reveals he has hidden a bike that won't start. Their moment of respite is interrupted by an approaching light, which turns out to be Athena come to rescue them. The three of them climb into the truck, but as they hit the road, Frank and Athena begin to argue. It comes to light that all the pins were meant to be destroyed, but Athena took the last box of 12 to continue recruiting more individuals. Frank is outraged that more young people are being pulled into this situation and tells Casey that Athena isn't truly shutting down when she ignores questions. Rather, she is simply choosing not to respond. He accuses Athena of feigning emotions to draw people in, only to abandon them later. Though hurt by Frank's words, Athena pushes aside her feelings for the moment and drives them to a local station where Frank has set up a secret network that connects to his house. At the station, they find another capsule ready for their use. After putting on the necessary protective gear, they activate the system, which teleports them to safety. Upon their arrival, Casey is surprised to find themselves at the top of the Eiffel Tower. A guard stands near the entrance, but Frank has packed several inventions, including a small tool that allows Casey to easily knock the guard out with a gentle tap. They enter an exhibition room featuring famous inventors, where Frank explains that figures like Eiffel, Verne, Tesla, and Edison were the original creators of Tomorrowland, using the Eiffel Tower as an antenna to access another world. After some searching, Frank activates a secret entrance, causing the Eiffel Tower to split apart and reveal a rocket. With robots closing in, the trio quickly boards the rocket, which blasts off and sends the robots flying away, opening a portal as it descends rapidly. As they arrive in Tomorrowland, Frank realizes that the authorities are hot on their trail. He instructs Athena to conceal a special bomb within her body for safekeeping. Their first encounter is with Nix, the city's governor, who intends to arrest them. However, Frank and Athena quickly persuade him to reconsider by revealing Casey's unique ability to lower the percentages on the screens. Taken aback, Nix escorts them to the headquarters where Frank's dangerous invention, the tachyon machine, is kept. During the elevator ride, Casey witnesses holograms displaying flashes of the future, produced by the machine that operates using a particle traveling significantly faster than light. The group enters the core of the tachyon machine, where Frank instructs Casey on how to operate it, enabling her to view any moment in humanity's history. To her astonishment, she sees herself at home from a few days ago, and Frank reveals that the machine can also look ahead. Casey begins to speed through historical events until she discovers a chilling prediction. The world is set to end in 58 days. Confused as to why they aren't alerting people on Earth, she learns from Nix that he has no interest in warning them since it's their world that's doomed, not Tomorrowland. He adamantly refuses to let anyone from Earth move to Tomorrowland, fearing they would repeat the same mistakes. Frustrated by Nix's attitude, Casey's defiance briefly causes the screen to flicker, revealing a vision of a better world. Frank attempts to argue that this suggests a possibility for change, but Nix knocks them all out. When Frank regains consciousness, Athena informs them they will be deported once more. Disheartened, Casey feels their efforts have been in vain and lashes out at Frank and Athena, accusing them of deception. In a moment of clarity, she realizes that Frank has been illegally tapping into the machine's signal to watch it from his home, which is influencing people on Earth with negative thoughts. She understands that if her optimism could change the narrative, turning off the machine might help others regain hope. However, when she informs Nix of her findings and pleads for him to disable the machine, he nonchalantly states there is no off button, prompting Frank to recognize that Nix is deliberately instilling this sense of doom in people's minds. Nix reveals that in the past, his attempts to warn the government about an impending disaster were disregarded. As a result, he decided to implant the message directly into people's minds as a form of warning, hoping it would inspire change. Unfortunately, rather than motivating humanity to strive for a better future, they resigned themselves to the idea that the end of the world was unavoidable. According to Nix, the blame does not lie with the machine. He believes that humanity has brought this fate upon itself. Feigning compliance, Frank shakes hands with Nix to discreetly activate the machine platform again. As chaos ensues, Athena and Casey take down the guards while Frank battles Nix, who summons 2 robots to pursue the girls. Frank urges Athena to deploy the bomb he gave her, but the robots intercept her before she can do so. In a quick exchange, Athena hands the bomb to Casey while fending off the robots, prompting Casey to sprint toward the now wildly moving platform, a result of Frank and Nix struggling for control of the bracelet. Athena successfully commandeers one robot, using it to push the other through the portal, causing it to attack Nix, as Casey prepares to activate the bomb by witnessing a vision of the future. Nix seizes control of the bracelet once more, causing the platform to descend dangerously. Athena quickly moves to catch the platform using her robot and heads to the control panel to close the portal, ultimately destroying the second robot and leaving Frank and Nix outside. In the meantime, Casey discovers the bomb, which is on the verge of detonating. With no other option, Athena reopens the portal to allow the men to return inside, and together they throw the bomb into the portal, ensuring it explodes safely away from them. The portal collapses, trapping Nix underneath, but he manages to reach for a nearby gun to shoot Frank. Realizing that Frank's impending death is a vision of the future, Athena intervenes to shield him from the bullet. As Casey wrests the gun from Nix, Frank attempts to carry Athena to a repair shop, but she insists there isn't enough time. Before her imminent demise, she wants Frank to know something vital and plays recordings from their past together. These recordings reveal that young Frank had a crush on Athena, and although he was hurt when he realized she was just a machine, Athena had kept voice diaries expressing her feelings for him. With Frank reassured that she cared for him too, Athena prepares to self-destruct, intending for her explosion to disable the machine. Using a jetpack, Frank lifts Athena into the machine, where they say their goodbyes before she is dropped in, resulting in a massive explosion that kills Nix. As Tomorrowland loses power, Frank struggles to control the jetpack while Casey checks on him. They brainstorm their next steps and, inspired by visions of the future, Frank repairs the portal so Casey can reunite with her family. Together, they embark on a mission to restart the PIN program, creating a new generation of robots like Athena. These robots will travel the world through portals, distributing pins to brilliant minds who can help shape a better future for Earth.